Hey, this is Dave at housebarons.com. If you've ever gone to the store and looked for lawn fertilizer or fertilizer of any kind, you see a maze of bags of all kinds of different options, and then you see these three little numbers in the bottom of the bag, and you wonder what those numbers are. Well, we're going to go ahead and talk about all of that today, explain it, make it a lot more simple, so that when you go to the store, you know exactly what you're getting, in spite of all the advertisement, all the marketing that's on the bags. So that you can make the best decision when you're looking for fertilizer, it's best to know the what about the numbers as well as the why and why it matters. Knowing about these three numbers not only saves you money, but it also gives you the knowledge to know that you bought the exact product you need. So at the most basic, the numbers stand for the NPK ratio. Basically, that's a percentage of the three elements that are in the bag. When you total all three of those numbers up, you get the percentage by weight of what's in the bag that you're buying. How much fertilizer are you actually buying, and the breakdown of that fertilizer. So you can just do the math here. Those three numbers added together is 33. So it's 33% of the weight of the bag is fertilizer. When you're buying it, that's right out of the gate. You know that of that bag, 1/3 of that bag by weight, say it's a 50-pound bag, 1/3 of that, or 16 plus pounds, is fertilizer. The rest is filler, sand, and other things that help the dispersal of the fertilizer. That gives you a real quick rule of thumb when you're comparing one bag to another, you know, how much fertilizer you're actually paying for. And when you're comparing those like bags from one brand to another, you can do a real quick comparison and see the difference in cost that way. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down those three numbers. Each of those numbers correspond to a letter. Those three letters stand for the elements of the material in the bag, and they come right out of the periodic table. Remember chemistry class? The first number stands for nitrogen. So like in this bag it says 30. That means that 30% of this bag of fertilizer is made up of nitrogen. The second number stands for phosphorus, and in this bag it says 0. And then the last one is potassium, or the letter K in the periodic table of elements. And potassium is designated here by 3. So 3% of this bag by weight is potassium. And knowing what each of those are, once you know what those particular elements do to your lawn, then you can target exactly what you need for your particular situation. Okay, so why do these numbers matter? Nitrogen is essential for the growth, the greening up of the leaves or the grass. If you don't have enough nitrogen in your yard, it'll stop growing and it'll turn yellow. Whenever you add nitrogen to your lawn, it greens it up, and you're going to have to mow a lot more. It really brings the deepest green to your yard once you lay down that nitrogen. Phosphorus is used to stimulate root growth. When you go and see a bag of starter fertilizer on the shelf, you'll see that the starter fertilizer is pretty heavy in phosphorus. So that does root growth. It speeds up the maturing of the plant. It helps the flowering of flowers and the fruiting. Again, if you have a deficiency in phosphorus, your plants just don't grow as well. And so that's one thing to look at. One thing about phosphorus is it stays with the soil a whole lot longer. And so if you put too much phosphorus down on your lawn or in your garden, you can do damage to that. So that's something to always be aware of. This is a fertilizer for bloom on flowering plants. And you can see here it's high in phosphorus. And phosphorus really does make the blooms of a flower grow. But again, you have to remember, if you put this on year after year after year, you may be overloading your soil with phosphorus. So that's why it's a really good idea to get your soil tested so you know you're not actually doing damage to your garden or your flower beds. And the last element is potassium, or K in the periodic table of elements. The potassium gives the grass or the plants the ability to tolerate cold or tolerate drought. Typically, when you look at your fertilizers, you'll see fertilizers that it says summer or end of the year fall fertilizer, what they're doing is putting more potassium into that mix, because that helps the grass or the plants deal with extreme heat or extreme cold. And it also helps fight off disease, which is, certainly important. This whole time we've been talking about just buying fertilizer, but sometimes fertilizer, like in the Scott's Turf Builder Triple Action, you have fertilizer in the bag as well as weed killer and the like. So that's something to be able to differentiate between, are you buying just fertilizer, or are you buying fertilizer in the bag with other things? This one in particular prevents crabgrass. It says feeds and fertilizes and kills and eliminates weeds. So these are the things that you need to know. Is it just a bag of fertilizer where this is just nitrogen and filler? Or are you getting something that has fertilizer in it plus a weed killer or a weed barrier or fighting a particular pest? Differentiating between the two is going to make a big difference, because this costs a whole lot more than just typical fertilizer. And this kind of fertilizer will run you for a 51-pound bag. This fertilizer will run you somewhere around $31 to $35. If you get this exact same thing in Scott's, Scott's will charge you for just fertilizer somewhere around $45. So they're very close to the same ratio of elements in the bag, but you're paying for a name. If you're just buying fertilizer, you can basically just get this bag, save yourself $10 right out of the gate. If you need more, if you're getting something more, if you're looking for weed prevention or something else like that, then that's a totally different matter. But when you're just looking for fertilizer, without worrying about all the labels, just worry about the number, and you know what you're getting. This is organic, Miracle-Gro organic blood meal. And one way, if you don't see any numbers on the front, you can turn it to the back, and right there it'll tell you total nitrogen 12%. Hope this video helps. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. We've got lots more videos coming. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.